But first tonight, the second season of the documentary series Wild Crime is now out. It tells the true stories of ugly crimes committed in some of the most beautiful places in America, our national parks.
Lone Wolf Media in South Portland produces the series, and this time around it filmed the recreations of several scenes at locations in Portland, South Portland, and Cape Elizabeth. We sat down to talk about it with producer-director Lisa Wolfinger of Lone Wolf and Rocco Navarro of the South Portland Police Department, who wouldn't have worked on this second season if the first season hadn't done so well on Hulu.
Oh, we were so excited. Yeah, I mean, we always had a season 2 planned, but as you said, you never know. So yeah, we got the call and we were right on it. And this one's set in Yosemite, so we were excited to explore Yosemite.
All right, we've got a little clip that'll give people a little sense of that, so let's take a look at that first clip.
From the giant sequoias to the waterfalls, it's an amazing place. But in Yosemite, criminals go on vacation too.
That's the whole premise that you told me about when we first talked about this series. Criminals go on vacation too. That's what sort of drives the storytelling, right? Is you got these bad things happening in such beautiful places.
Yeah, and I just, as a caveat here, there's very little serious crime in national parks, but every now and then, and when something bad happens, there are federal detectives that take care of it.
Well, what is cool about season 2, Murder in Yosemite, is that you had to shoot, as you always do, recreations, and you were able to shoot them here in Maine. Rocco, you got involved in this because you're an officer with the South Portland Police Department, and you also have some experience as an actor. When they came to you guys and said, well, we need some assistance, we need some cooperation from the police department, what did you guys say?
I mean, we were totally honored. I mean, you know, Maine isn't a mecca for the film industry, so to have anything like this come to our backyard, I mean, we would do anything we can to help them out. They were great on set. They made us feel very welcomed. You know, I can't say enough good things about Lone Wolf and you know, the production company, and it was a great experience.
We're going to talk about the recreations a little more in a moment, but first, just to get to sort of the basic premise, and we can roll some video that we have, our second clip. What's the basic story that you're telling this season?
So it starts with finding human remains in an alpine meadow in Yosemite in 1983. And it's a big mystery. Who is this, you know, who is this person? I mean, all you have is a hand. And it takes us on this long, twisty journey. We end up with 3 very notable suspects, actually, and we figure out who the victim was.
You shot in Yosemite, but as we mentioned, the recreations were shot in Portland, South Portland, and Cape Elizabeth. What is it like when a film crew shows up at the police station to shoot these kinds of recreations?
Sure, it was just such a surreal experience, because like I said, with my previous acting, it's usually down in Massachusetts with Daddy's Home, Castle Rock, Mother Android. So I've always had to travel Massachusetts, Rhode Island. So to have it right at my workplace was just such surreal. You know, it was a great experience. And what's good too is our PD matched some of the scenes. We have an older section of the PD, which kind of, you know, some of the film took place in that.
In their basement,
and this is what you and Lone Wolf like to do, is when possible you like to shoot in Maine because A, you get to sleep in your own bed at night, and B, you like being able to bring production to Maine.
Absolutely, and I mean there's a wonderful you know, film incentive program that really makes it all possible. And we can use local crew, we can use local cast, and we can develop that too. We can develop local crew and the casting pool here.
And you were able to get some young people involved. There's one scene, recreation scene, that involved a search, and let's take a look. We have a clip of that.
Our job next would be to start looking for the body.
We called the Mariposa County Search and Rescue volunteer teams, and a lot of their volunteers were teenagers.
Where was that shot?
Crescent Beach State Park, believe it or not. It's a perfect stand-in for an alpine meadow in Yosemite. You would never believe it, but it's true.
It looks like Mariposa County, California, so it worked for you. You were involved in the shooting that day, right, Rocco?
I was, yes. Myself and Sergeant Stevenson and his canine, you know, we gridded it out just like we would do, you know, on the job, and it was really cool to bring kind of that authenticity to the film. Shane was great about, you know, training the other actors up on exactly how to do the grid and, you know, search for the items, and you know, to just transfer it over to the film was awesome. I mean, it's what we trained for.
And it's the only way to do these reenactments in a way that feels authentic, is you need the experts there to guide you so it looks right.
Well, one of the things that you were looking for was a police station that looked authentic, that wasn't too architecturally glamorous or anything like that. Let's take a look at our last clip, because this was a recreation of what is supposed to be a lab, right? That was shot at the South Portland police station. How did it work, Lisa? Was it what you needed? Was it what you wanted?
It was perfect. I mean, I hate to say this, but the basement of the South Portland Police Department is, it's very 1980s.
Very.
And we actually had one of their guys help us out with this scene and showed the actor what to do. It's supposed to be a forensic lab scene, so it worked out beautifully, and it looks gorgeous.
And this is part of what you were able to do, Rocco, is help make sure that the details were as authentic and accurate as possible, so that the series depicts the way law enforcement investigations really work.
Exactly, and from handcuffing on the scene, I was able to show the other actors, hey, this is the right way to do it. So it made it look more realistic and the authenticity was there because, one, we were right at the PD. Two, it matched kind of the time frame with the cinder block walls on it. So I mean, it fit great. But I mean, the actors are great. They caught on fast, and it was just cool to be able to bring that authenticity.
Well, and I will say very quickly, Rocco ended up wearing how many different police uniforms from different counties in California?
Yeah, I mean, it was several. So some of the arrest scenes, the room clearing. So I kind of gave them a crash course on the best way to kind of clear a room, and they caught on great.
So if you were wearing uniforms from all kinds of different departments, you were impersonating an officer.
Yeah, I remember there was the old sheriff's uniform, the tan, and I had the hat and everything. And then there was another, I think, a ranger uniform. I lost track of them.
Yeah. He was many different characters.
All in all, were you happy with the way the whole series has come out?
Oh, yeah, thrilled. And it was such a pleasure to shoot in my backyard with, half the time in like neighbors' houses and my local police station and fire department. So, yeah, it was a real pleasure not to have to go somewhere else and just make it happen here in Maine.
Again, the name of the show is Wild Crime Season 2, and it is available right now on Hulu.